Hi, I'm Yelena.
And I'm David.
And this is super awkward because we're standing on the opposite sides of each other.
Yeah, usually I'm on the other side, yeah.
But I'm going to be talking a little bit more in this video, so.
A little bit of role reversal. Freaky Friday. Yep.
All right. But before we tell you what we're going to talk to you about today, make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the videos.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Like it. Mm-hmm. Comment below. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to see.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah.
All right. So what are we talking about today?
Uddiyana Bandha. Uddiyana means lifting up, flying up. Bandha means lock or fetter.
Fetter?
Fetter. That's how you always read the definition of bandha. It's like, this old word.
I don't know what that means.
It means lock.
Oh, okay.
So
we learned some English today too.
Yep, Old English. Flying up lock. So bandhas. Bandhas are locks. We've talked about them before. You've probably heard about them. Mm-hmm. They're an integral part of our practice, our asana practice, our breathing practice.
And we have 3 bandhas, really.
At least.
We use Jalandhara Bandha sometimes when we do seated pranayama.
Pranayama, yes.
Seated pranayama.
Right. I didn't know where you were going there.
Yeah, seated pranayama, which is a lock in this part of our body. Then we have Uddiyana Bandha, which we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. It's a lock in the front through these muscles here. And then we also have the famous and really well-known Mula Bandha, which is even lower down in the pelvic floor.
Yeah, Jalandhara Bandha, casting the net across the stream. Uddiyana, flying up. Mula, root.
Mm-hmm. And then Maha Bandha.
The great seal like lock.
I knew you were going to say that.
Not seal like. That's we do that with Kumbhaka, which we're going to talk about now. So let's stay on topic.
All right.
Uddiyana Bandha. That's what we're going to look at today. Hard to do Uddiyana Bandha. What we're going to do now without Mula Bandha and Jalandhara Bandha as well, because we're actually going to start by looking at the Uddiyana Bandha Kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is like the empty pot kind of your torso that you do when you hold your breath. And this is like the full expression of Uddiyana Bandha with Mula and Jalandhara. And then sometimes we use that as a kriya as well. So we'll quickly talk about that. And then we're going to go back, bring it more to specifically Ashtanga, the sadhana that we do, the vinyasa sequence, how we use Uddiyana Bandha then.
Yeah, and just before we go any further, it's interesting to note that just the word bandha itself, it kind of has 2 meanings. So what we're going to explore in this video is literally for you how to find bandha as a muscular engagement or connection to your body. But then over time, and you'll find out this on your own, you realize that there's also this whole other energetic component to the bandhas as well, or bandha.
Yeah, and directing energy. Though, I mean, the body is energy too, right? Mm-hmm. It's different, so it kind of, we can separate it, and then eventually it gets back
together. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate.
Yeah, so David's going to demonstrate. So because of that, I'll be talking, and for him to demonstrate, he can't have a shirt on. So you got to take your shirt off now.
Yeah, I won't be able to talk because my mic is on my shirt. Yeah. All right.
Off. Good. So before we move on, 2 things. If you're pregnant or you have high blood pressure, it's recommended that you sit this one out. So you can watch it. It can still be informative video for you, but just don't do it. If you're on your period, your body, your choice. Do whatever you feel like. All right. So I'm going to get David to once just do it, and I'll stay quiet and just kind of watch what he does with the body and how it happens. And then the second time I'll talk you through it. You impressed? It's a party trick. All right, so one more time we're gonna do it, and I'll just briefly talk through it. So when David stands, his feet are kind of like wide. And notice that he bends the legs. So the first thing, he's gonna exhale all the air through his mouth. And notice how he'll drop down and kind of curve over as well. And as he exhales, now he's gonna use his hands and he's gonna push and straighten his arms. And as he does that, he's gonna round his lower back. So tucking the tailbone under, pulling the bum under, and then pulling in through the front. Notice that the chin is also tucked in to kind of create more of that vacuum. And then you just hold it there. And then when you're ready, the head comes first, and then you inhale. If you don't do that, you're gonna start coughing. And that's totally fine, cough it out. But next time, remember to lift the head up first so that you can breathe and kind of release all the tension and the pressure that builds up here. All right, gonna get David to put the shirt back on now. Ta-da! Back on.
Wow. Okay, so it was a quick little talk through of it. We're not going to spend too much time. We'll do another tutorial sometime about the Kriya Nauli, which is connected to Uddiyana Bandha, which you have to be able to do. But you could see how we had, you couldn't see Mula Bandha, thankfully, but you could see Uddiyana Bandha and Jalandhara Bandha, pulling the belly in, pulling the chin down, and creating that lock, Mahabandha. We also call that Kumbhaka. Mm-hmm. And so you're always holding the breath when you do Kumbhaka, because Jalandhara Bandha is only done with retention, either on the inhale or on the exhale. Paya, the inhale, or Antara, the exhale.
Yeah, and Jalandhara Bandha, we don't do it during our Ashtanga practice, during your moving meditation, because you're always breathing through your practice. So while we do movements or we hold the head in a position that looks like Jalandhara Bandha, it's not actually Jalandhara Bandha because you're breathing and you don't want to not breathe during your practice. That's like an important distinction.
By definition, it's not because you're breathing.
Yes. Yeah, because you're breathing.
But you'll feel if you tried to do that, the Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha is a critical part of it because it does create this seal, because you feel pressure in the throat when you're trying to hold it like that. It helps you hold.
That's the coughing that happens afterwards because of it.
Whenever we teach this, it always happens. Somebody always doesn't lift their chin and they start to breathe in and then they cough.
And that's normal too, because you're kind of not panicking, but it's a little bit uncomfortable. You're holding your breath. So once you want to inhale, like you just want an inhale. So you forget this step of lift the head up first. Yeah. So just cough it out. It's okay.
So we don't ever hold the breath in the sadhana that we're doing on the mat, in the asana practice. We always want to be either inhaling or exhaling. There's that little pause between, but it's not considered kumbhaka. It's just a very short, natural pause.
Yeah, it's what your breath does no matter what.
It actually says this in Yogamala. Mm-hmm. There's no kumbhaka. Mm-hmm. Don't hold. So that's in the asana practice, not the pranayama practice. All the Ashtanga pranayamas do have kumbhaka that we do later on. Mm-hmm. So, but why do we have then Uddiyana Bandha, right? It's a different Uddiyana Bandha because we don't have the Jalandhara Bandha. We're kind of creating that shape in our body, so that sort of pull through the transverse abdominis. Those are the muscles. They run they wrap around your waist and they run laterally. Mm-hmm. And we're also creating this little kind of lift through tucking the tailbone or drawing the sits bones down. And that kind of ties into Mula Bandha. So all through the practice, I think particularly in forward bends, we're creating that Jalandhara Bandha effect of activation by positioning the pelvis a certain way. And we've talked about it in downward facing dog, and we talk about it in our forward bend videos and stuff like that. But it's interesting just to explicitly state it.
Yeah. And so doing this practice before you maybe actually start your sadhana, your moving meditation, is a nice way to connect to that part of the body, connect to the sensations that come from this. Of course, in our practice, we don't go as deep. We don't hold the breath, but we also don't find that contraction or engagement as deep as you saw David do it just a few minutes ago. It's less, significantly less.
You can't get the vacuum without the exhalation. But you can get a strong version of it, especially in something like downward facing dog. You get a lot of lift through here. Eventually. Yeah.
But of course, it's also completely normal that if you follow it along or you try it now and you kind of do that and it doesn't look anything like what you see David's, it takes time. You know, even with all the steps, you still might not be able to get there. So you just have to, like everything else, you just have to keep reaching for it and then eventually you'll get there.
You know what? This is pro tip. If you're starting your practice or you're starting to get in touch with those connections, I remember learning about it through the day. I'm actually all the time engaging through the pelvic floor and drawing my sits bones down to keep my spine like over my hips, you know, and feel that connection there through the whole day. So I do it really formally on the mat, but I practice it all day long in a way.
Yeah. Here's a funny thing, and this is a woman's perspective. I would always do that before I even found the Ashtanga, few days before my period, because my lower back would hurt so much. And I found that doing that, like my body just did that, would release some of the tension in my lower back because the muscles start to engage as opposed to staying in that dump position. So it's kind of like really fascinating when you said that, but I know that I've done that for a really long time.
So we'll have to put this in the search engine sort of thing, the cure for period pain.
No, it's not a cure. It just takes a tiny bit of it away sometimes.
Okay, but we could still put cure.
Okay, well,
Okay, well, I hope you found that helpful.
Useful,
yeah. It's not like straight information about a posture, but it really pertains to almost all of the postures if you can connect to it.
And again, it's something that we're working with the muscles that are deep inside of us. So sometimes it takes time, and it's kind of interesting to explore it and to figure it out and connect to it.
It's definitely interesting. We'll do another video on Nauli at some point and talk about a way that you can get even deeper into it and do a purification practice as well.
All right.
Bye.